Hey everyone, this is Dr. Jyoti Bala. Today we will be discussing about how to write a research article for our scientific purpose and for submission in the editorials and journal. The first video on this channel I have already made regarding how to write and submit this review article. But as I mentioned there also, research article and review article are different. And if you are a student and young researcher, if you still are having some confusion, this session will be important for you, especially for writing and submitting research article. So let's begin this session. So the agenda of this talk will include, I will be explaining you what is research article, the overall structure and the backbone of research article. I will also be guiding you how to write the article in effective way, in a step-by-step way. And additionally, I will be providing you some of the tips and the tools which will be required or which can be utilized while composing and drafting these research articles for your submission purpose. And finally, some of the key important points I will be summarizing in the key takeaway. So let's start this. Let's discuss who needs this scientific article writing and submission. If you're a student or a researcher who have enough data, the quality data from your project, training, dissertation, or your PhD program, you can write an article and you can submit to the renowned journals. If you are from academia or a faculty from some institute and university, many places they for the promotion purpose and for grant submission, we as a scientific community, as a faculties and academia, we have to provide these publications to show our growth in our journey. And if you are from industry, if you have done some innovative work related to your technology or your R&D sector, in that time also industry sector also publish their work. Now coming to pre-planning, why I am emphasizing that don't wait for your final project to complete. Initial draft you can start at any stage because we are working at some dissertation, training, projects. We have some idea that what we are doing, what we are expecting, what will be the relevant of those results. So in a way, some part of that overall research article we can start writing in the beginning also. So initial draft, initial strategy we can plan out in a very early stages, like what is the project, why we are doing, what expectation is from this project, and what will be the advantage and relevance and significance of such project. So in that way, our initial story we can draft in a very early stage. Then instead of waiting to complete the overall project and then to start the overall writing in one go, it's better like you divide the whole subsection of your research article. I will be guiding you the subsection of research article and the backbone. So once it is clear to you, you can start writing not the whole research article in one go. Like methods and material part, okay, we know that, okay, we are using cloning, or if you are using bioinformatics related tool, you know what methods and methodology or tools you are using. So make a subsection for your review part, for your methods part, for your result part, for your discussion part. And whatever you are completing, because you have this initial draft and story, just fill that part. And once everything will be like complete, and then we can merge these files. So in an initial step, divide your subsections, and whatever you are doing day by day, week by week, or month by month, you can fill that subsection. So in the end, you won't be having a lot of work to complete in the last stages. So I usually do this research article writing and review article in this way. And then once your things are flowing nicely, you know that, okay, you are getting good editorials, your writing is going smoothly, but this is a draft and we have to actually submit these article in a particular research editorial journals and all these things. So we should know, we should have some ideas, okay, that okay, we are writing in a cancer related project or a virology related project. So we will submit to this editorial house, this journals, the project data and the impact should match, and we should, like, we know our data, whether it is suitable for 5 impact factor, 10 impact factor, 25 impact factor, and based on relevance of our data, we can choose the journals, and then we have to read the editorial guideline of that journals, and accordingly the final draft we have to modify. So there are minor differences between journal house to journal house. These final modification we have to do every time when we are submitting to a particular journal. Suppose you are planning to submit in Elsewhere or Springer or Nature, so you have to modify all these things. So let's discuss what is research article and what is review article. In my initial first video, I have already made how to write a review article. If you have missed watching that video, I request you to watch that also. So as I mentioned in that video also, review and articles are different. In review article, we are writing a summary of many articles which we have read and what conclusion, what understanding, what relevance we have found, we write in a summary way. But here in a research article, we are giving the ideas about our experimental sets or survey or data analysis, what we have done, why we have done, what is our result, what is the significance. So it's actually database thing. So what we have done, in what way we have done, what is the result, and what is the significance, and what could be the future prospect or future application of those results. So these things we have to document in a research article. So while preparing these research article drafts and submissions, you should plan, as I mentioned, in advance. And very important part for writing and for composing these research articles will be our actual data. Whether we have performed a survey-based analysis and project, or a in silico data related to bioinformatics project, or wet lab biotechnology or biology-based experiments. Doing the actual experiments, statistically importance, relevance, validated in data will be required. It's like all the experiments should be done in 3 times in triplicate with proper control, positive and negatives. All these things we have to consider like we do in the lab. So doing and completing the actual project and getting the relevant data will be the important factor. Then doing the data analysis and the interpretation. It's not whatever we are doing in the lab we can produce in the article. Some relevant data which is telling some interpretation after the analysis, those things we can publish. So this thing will be important. And then where we want to publish these articles and these data. So our aim, like suppose if I am working on a breast cancer, I cannot go and submit this work and related work into the virus or the plant journals. They won't have the similar scope. So based on our research projects and data, we have to select the journals also where we want to submit. Then whether you have enough of grant and funds to support, because there are certain journals which will ask for fee also for submission. So checking the impact factors for the quality purpose, whether they are asking for the fee submission, all these things, and whether that journal house and journal is international or nationally peer review, and if we are from India, whether it is UGC approved or no. So these things we have to take in consideration. Then once your proper complete writing has been done, then also you have to take some expert advices from either from your supervisor, from seniors, and your grammar check and writing checks. All these things, we should take these things, a critical feedback from our seniors or from our scientific community will always help, because not only the scientific data but the technical part, the grammar part, all these things will be required before submitting the article to the journal. And then there will be certain tools and software which will be required, especially for compiling your references, because in many journals they will ask you to submit the references in number wise, some will ask you name wise, and many student and researcher still manually arrange those things. So it is very tedious to do these tasks manually. I always encourage to use some automatic tools like EndNote, Mendeley for these purpose, for compilation and for using the arranging the references. Okay. So overall, and also yes, sorry, for editing of your or editing of your datas, the figures, the tables, there are a lot of good tools which is present these days. Use those things to improve the quality of your scientific figure and illustration also. I have already made one video regarding that also. There I have already mentioned all the tools and the servers which you can utilize for that purpose. So let's discuss the overall structure, format, and component of research article. A very important part of any research article is your title. Title itself should tell the overall story of our research data and project. So here it should tell in a limited line, maybe 8 word to 15 words around in a single phrase. It should be precise and relevant. That should tell the relevance and the overall story of our project and the data and the story. Correct grammar and proper capitalization will be required while writing the title. And here usually we try to avoid the abbreviation. So precisely we have to give a very strong title which should tell the overall story of our data and the project. Then where we are working, which lab, which place we are working, so affiliations we have to provide. Then abstract is very important. See, in a review of review writing, that time we are overall focusing about the subject area, subjective thing. Here, what we have done, why we have done, what we have got, and what will be its relevance or the future prospect is the main key point. So around, usually depending on journal to journal, it is usually 150 to 250 words document, but it should tell. Most of the journal will ask you for text abstract. These days many journals has also started this graphical abstract also. So our focus will be very precisely in a summary form. From 150 to 200 word, we should tell what we have done, in what way we have done, what we have got, and what could be its relevance and its future prospect. So after abstract, you should write your introduction and background. So here, like in abstract, we don't write any citations or abbreviations until and unless the same thing is used multiple times. But abstract is very precise. But in case of introduction, we have little bit elaboration. So for in like 2 pages, in 2 or 3 paragraphs, we can explain what is the purpose and overall this project and the article is related, what we have done, what is the history or the background of that work. If suppose I have done on breast cancer, so is the breast cancer project is relevant, what is breast cancer, what is the statistical significance or the deaths and the causes of these things. So what is causing that disease? Suppose I am focusing on BCL2 protein which is causing breast cancer. Either I am inhibiting these things or for diagnostic or marker purpose I am using these proteins. So in the history part or the background part, I have to give the reader an idea what this project is, what is the significance. If I am using certain new technology or protocol or the tools, if you are related to bioinformatic project, suppose if I am using a drug designing project of CAD, then I have to give the ideas what we are doing, why we are doing, in what way and approach and technology we are using. So in an elaboration form with citations we have to provide in the introduction and background, like whether the similar technology, similar work has been done by some other group. Suppose if I am working on breast cancer, I can cite, okay, these scientists has worked on breast cancer, and these, based on their wet lab, dry lab, in vivo or translation research, they have found that, okay, BCL2 is a validated target which causes breast cancer. So I can cite all these information, and whether I am inhibiting these BCL2 via in silico or molecular approach or cloning or silencing approach, that thing I can then explain, okay, I am using CRISPR technology or CAD or Aptamer. So whatever technology I am using to inhibit these BCL2, these things I have to mention, so that the reader will also get the ideas about how we have approached to that problem. Then overall, we will in the introduction also, we will give the ideas that, okay, what has been done, why it has been done, what we have done, what we have got, and what is the relevance of that. So in a story form, around 2 pages, you can write it down. And then in review of article, we haven't given anything related to methods and methodology, but in research article, we have to provide methods, whether we have performed wet lab or dry lab or statistical survey. We have to provide here what we have done, not in very detail. Suppose if I have done a cloning, so whether I have done cloning related to TA cloning or protein expression cloning or RNA expression cloning, so I have to mention what vectors, what enzymes I have used for those purposes. If I have done any in silico project, so what tools, database, pipelines I have used. So their server links I have to provide. Other databases which I have used, I have to give the details. So in method section, I have to provide in a very crisp form what we have used, what chemicals, tools, servers we have used, with citations, and just a minute. And then what we have got. So the result explanation we have to do in the, there are two ways actually journals ask for. Sometimes they completely ask to provide the figures and then explain all the results in the discussion section. But in certain journals, they will ask you to provide the results. Every figures we have to explain one figure. Suppose if I am providing cloning data, why I have used BCL2 or by which approach I have silenced these genes. So with all the figures, I have to explain what has been done, why something has been done, what I have got. So all these things in one figures or a table, I have to provide the details also. So discussion will be included with the figure. But sometime in some journals, they will ask you to give the figure alone separately and discussion in 2-3 pages. So all the overall story discussion with citation and reference to the figure number and the table number, you can provide in the discussion. While writing your result and discussion, we have to keep this thing in mind, what we have done, whether the similar kind of work other research group has done, so we can provide the citation. If suppose my result is completely opposite to some other group, then also I can like mention like why and we can give the probable understanding why in our experimental things we are getting different results. So you can tell your feedback, your understanding also. And suppose in their experiment things has worked, but in your system if something is not working, then how you have troubleshoot all these things. So all these things we have to write it down in the discussion sector in a precise way with citations and all. And finally in the conclusion and summary point, we have to, in a half page, we have to tell what is the significance and crisp of the project, what results we have got, which part we have inhibited, or what thing we have done and we have got. And finally, whether it could be used in the future prospect which whether these things has some significance or relevance, or whether our result has solved some basic biology problems which can be utilized with the other projects also. So what you think our data can be utilized for future prospect, this we can mention. And if multiple people and authors are involved, then who has contributed how much, and whether there is some conflict, because many a time different group from different countries, different places are involved. So additional information related to author contribution, acknowledgement, and for all these experiment, what funds and R&D grants we have utilized. Additionally, depending on journal to journals, we have to provide these optional informations also. So these could vary, because depending on journals, they will ask you to provide these things. And some people will also ask to provide you, if you have utilized figures of some different group, then they will ask you to provide copyright also. So some of the key takeaway here, as I mentioned, starting early, initial draft, once you have 50-60% of relevant data which is telling a story, so it is giving you ideas like in what direction you are going, and you have enough data. So starting the things in early and in subsection is important, and it is going to help us a lot. Then using effective tools for generating a good quality scientific figure and illustration, automatic references tool, paper check, plagiarism check. These tools, effective tools, we should try and utilize. Then please don't compromise with the quality. Quantity doesn't matter. If you have relevant data which is statistically relevant, which is done with controls and all these things, then only try to publish these things. And always take the feedback from your seniors and experts. So while submitting, the chances of rejection will be very less. And if you have done the proofreading and editing 2-3 times with the critical feedback from your supervisors and the seniors. So from my side, I wish you very good luck for your submissions. I hope you have liked this videos, and if you found this video useful for your scientific work and in your scientific journey, I do request you all to kindly like, subscribe, and share these videos among your students and your scientific community. Thank you so much.